never give up. That's my kind of like, it would be like, yes, sometimes life can put you down and completely like in the, maybe in the ground, maybe like destroy you completely, and have like this breakdowns, but believe that and after each breakdown, it's a breakthrough. It's opportunity to learn, to grow, to get know yourself better, and actually appreciate each opportunity and each challenge that we meet in our life.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Destination Happiness. Today I'm thrilled to welcome Aisha Makara, a world traveller, artist, entrepreneur, and author of the Joyful Living Guidebook. Born in Mongolia and orphaned at 2, Aisha has turned life's challenges into a journey of opportunities and resilience. She's travelled to over 60 countries, earned an engineering degree, founded a boutique hostel in Portugal, and even sent her artwork into space. Her philosophy is all about embracing creativity, taking risks, and living boldly, a perfect fit for anyone seeking their own path to their destination happiness. Aisha, welcome to the show.
Hello, I'm very happy and appreciating to having me. Thank you very much, Sophia, for your introduction of me. I'm like
Thank
listening to
you.
myself and I'm like, wow, I've done so much.
Oh, good. Yeah, no, you're really an inspiration. When I found you online, I thought we have to get Aisha onto the podcast. Your story is just crazy, and I'm really excited to dive into it with you. So, yeah, thank you so much for coming on. So, first of all, could you tell us a bit about your upbringing in Mongolia? And how did your early experiences shape your love for exploration and creativity?
I feel I always been kind of like out of this world. And when I grew up in very open space. I grew up in a small village in the middle of nowhere. And when you're a little young kid and you don't have parents, first of all, what you do, you're going and look for the parents. You kind of like every time you kind of like exploration and find, oh, maybe one day my mother will come back because she promised me to come back. For example, one of the reasons, and she never come back. But the thing is like my story was like I always was looking, and I was exploring and I was understanding as a kid, there's no way to run away far away because I'm always going back to the, where I was. And I remember when I started to think for myself and I started to explore, like areas around. I went on adventure. I call it like adventure. I love to adventure by myself. And every time when I was curious about something, I remember I was bringing it to the community I was living in. And by the time I was probably like 5 or 6, maybe like around 7 years old, and that was exploration was already, by myself. I already understood the way I can go and explore things and go on adventure by myself. But the thing is, when I come back, I was bringing in different things. Sometimes I was bringing a snake. For example, one of my
Oh my gosh.
my adventures, I brought this black snake, but this was little snake, and I didn't know that it's snake because nobody explained me. I was a kid, right? There was nobody telling you that, oh, this is the snake, this is this animal, this is. I mean, I knew some animals. That moment of my life, I didn't know all the animals or like the thing that exists on the planet Earth. And I remember when I found it, it was moving, and I was very curious. As a kid, you're just curious to like, what is this?
Yeah.
And I remember when I catch it and I put it on a pocket, and I was like trying to bring it to the community and showing them what it is. Like I found it and I would like to know what it is, for example. And everyone was in that point of my life, I understood that I'm not like a normal one because many people were scared, nobody knew what it is. And there was like a completely like chaos around me. And I couldn't understand why like this chaos around me because I was just wanted to know, what it is. And they were acting like weird.
Yeah.
And after a while, of course, I understood, in my area, it can be also the poison snakes, can be like the good snakes and it's not good snakes, and that I got the good one, I didn't know, but it was the good one. It was not like a poison, anything like that. But the thing is, after a while, I just understood it scares people. So I remember when I was at the first grade of school and bringing these snakes, and I was asking kids. I was like kind of mean, but I didn't know that it's mean. I just think in my mind it was just fun. And I was saying to the kids like, "Oh, do you want to like check out my pockets? Do you want to know what is my pocket?" And the kids like going to the pocket and they, taking the snake and this real snake, and they were getting very scared, and it's cold, it's kind of like weird, and I'm just laughing because for me it's just fun, but for them it was very scared. So
Mm.
nobody like I didn't have friends, for example, at school because everyone think I'm a little bit like in my own whatever in my own
Yeah.
world. And but it didn't bother me so much. I kind of like accept that part probably because even in my orphan house I didn't have friends. I always like fight. I didn't have anyone, for example, went with me on adventure, because every time somebody wants to go on adventure with me, they started to cry and like doing all this like I want to go home, it's too far, I'm hungry, I'm this and that. So I stopped to take kids with me. I mean, I was a kid myself, but I was kind of like going. I knew that I'm going on an adventure. I'm going to maybe find something very cool, or maybe I just want to explore new areas. And I just love it. As a kid, I don't know why, but I just love it to explore. And that's what I think from that time it started to like my idea of adventure, or my idea of going exploring and taking risk, even without understanding that, or having idea of it, because I didn't have any guidance, like adult guidance of parents, or like somebody who cares about you. It was just like a kind of obligation from adult part, like, oh, the most important they're alive, or like doing their thing. So nobody was communicating with me, for example, in my childhood, and nobody was having conversation with me. So I felt I was living kind of in my own world,
Yeah.
and have my own ideas, the way I want to like live it up, and the way I want to create, the way I want to like explore. And when I started to read, I learned one thing, like I want to go and live my fairy tale. I love fairy tale. I started to love like mythology, and I read so much. I was reading all the time, and the library was my place to be.
Hmm.
And I remember one day I was between 8 and 9, I think. I want to learn English, and nobody in my environment, I learn and know English. Nobody speak English. Nobody speak any like other language.
Hmm.
I don't know why, but I just felt this like a connection to the English language. And I discovered in one of the magazines, it was like a school that's sending you, brochures and information in English. There was that, I was a cassette. I wrote them long letter. It was my like, explaining my life and explaining everything, and and send it to them. And they started to send me brochures, and I was receiving and I was learning English by myself. But
And
like
how old were you at this point?
I was like 8, 9, I think, like very young. But that's
Oh,
like
creative.
that's what I'm saying. To be entrepreneur, it's like thinking for yourself and actually, looking for the way to what to interest you. Not thinking about, oh my gosh, I don't have money. Oh my gosh, I don't have this. Going from the heart, and I just say who you are and be honest about that, and not like hiding anything, like, and just be authentic yourself. And I
Yeah.
feel that's the amazing part of the world. For example, my idea of sending art to the space, I was 2020, I was working a lot with kids that time. I was like, I was teaching kids art, and it just happened kind of like randomly, because I started to do art classes, like just in a groups, organizing different art classes in a different places, fancy places in Miami. And COVID happened, so I didn't know what to do. Somehow I started to interact with kids, and I started to work with the kids, teaching them art, creative thinking. And I remember this idea came to me because of the kids, because I was working too much with kids, and we were like talking about dreams, what it is to be like just playful and having fun. And I started to remember myself again as a kid.
Yeah.
And that's why I created this idea to send my art to the space. And I created my idea to paint the rocket.
You sent your art to space. It was in collaboration with SpaceX and Qosmosys, right?
Yes.
So did you contact them and say, "Hey, I have this idea of
No,
sending
no, no.
art"? They
It was
contact you.
yes, it was a project that in 2021, I think, I applied for that project. And that
Oh,
also a completely crazy story. In my life happened many like crazy things. I just broke up and my relationship was very bad. And after like I lost absolutely everything, all my documents. My van was broken. I was kind of a hippie that time, like traveling and living in a van, selling my art from the van, and everything was stolen from me. My cards, my phones, my everything. And I was like sitting with nothing. First time in my life when I realized that I was working and be so independent in my own way, and working and towards like a being healthy and happy and humble in my own way. I didn't touch anything outside, and I understood like to be hippie, it's like you're completely independent, you're living in your own kind of bubble, and it's great. But the thing is, you still get to connect with the community and still connect like asking for support. In that moment of my life, I get to go and ask for support. And I think after 2 weeks or something, less than a month, this opportunity arrived. And I remember I didn't have any money. I still didn't have any supplies because I was living in a community that it's not artist. It's like a creative community, but they don't have like this art supplies. And, you get to go and buy it and you get to go and kind of like create it, right? I did something very simple. But the thing is, in that moment when I get to deliver, I was at a festival because I was not like living independently. I get to go and do things with other and actually kind of like collaborate in that moment of my life to be
Are you
humble.
referring to Burning Man at this point? Burning Man.
Yeah, it's kind of was like connected to the Burning Man community, or like many of them from Burning Man community. But the thing is like I was in this festival and I had a deadline of delivery, and I remember they asking me 8 artworks to send it to them. I didn't have internet. I didn't have phone. I didn't have anything. So I got to ask people to take a picture of my art to deliver to them, and send emails. And it was like a whole thing, whole process of like whole like just applying. Was like a challenge for me. And I look at this opportunity and I said to myself, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. But the thing is, I cannot control the things that is outside there, because if they don't choose me, I still did my best from my side,
Exactly.
whatever I could from the tools I had in that moment of my life. And, that's the part of who I am, I think, from the perspective of like as a child, like when mother abandoned you and you don't have any like a parent support, you don't have any kind of like ground support or like pillar that you can count on. So you get to every time work for yourself and count on yourself.
Yeah.
Created this center that, okay, who is going to do that if not me? Who is going to accomplish this for me if it's not going to be me?
Exactly. And you've shown that from like, well, you say that you applied to learn English from school at the age of 8. And that's crazy. I think when I was 8, I was probably, I don't know, playing with my Tamagotchi or something. I wasn't applying for schools by myself. It must have been, especially if you come from like an orphaned background, it must have been really heartwarming having that whole community supporting you to apply for this project. And I guess maybe, I don't know, this is just my guess, but perhaps that was just as rewarding as actually receiving that nomination and getting to send your art to space. It was equally as fulfilling having all those people help you to apply.
Exactly. That's the point. I was so grateful for the whole experience because I was very honest to them. I was telling them, this is the art I'm applying for, the send the art to the space, to the it's going to be flying somewhere in space, and they were very inspired by that story, and they were like they want to help me to accomplish it. And I was very grateful that I even don't remember the names of these people because they just was random people. I didn't write the names, anything like that. Maybe I followed them on Instagram, but that was a crazy time of my life where I just meet random people in a festival and I just ask for support because I didn't have time. I get to just go and ask anyone who can give me that support. It was not just a one person. I get to ask for many people to help me. And and eventually, like, of course, someone helped because to organize festival, that festival was 1 week, and to come to that festival you get to come like a few days or like 5 days before to set up, because I was volunteering, or my team or whatever, the people I was with, they were volunteering, and some of them was on a kind of on a ticket, whatever. But like, I'm just feeling, I'm so grateful that I meet these people, that these random people, that I just share my story and ask for support, and they were there for me to do that, and go and look for connection or reception, going to the mountains, like driving with me, like find this to send my artwork to the emails that was there. But the thing is like I did it, I asked for support. I didn't stop because I don't have this. I didn't focus on what I don't have. I focused what I get to accomplish. I focus on, like I can do it. I was just telling to myself, I can do it. It's easy, and it is
Yeah.
easy.
it kind of ties in with, you shared a quote on your website, quote from Walt Disney: if you can dream it, you can do it. And it sounds like you really truly live by that, and is probably makes up part of your life philosophy.
Exactly. I read the biography of Walt Disney. He's a lucky man. I think he had a brother who actually, worked towards his dream or work with him, to he can dream, and the brother can actually like do all the work that was on the side, like the whole the work. That's so much the numbers, putting it in the numbers, putting it on the structure, presentation, and getting all this money because that was their time. It was so much money that Walt Disney doesn't even understand how much money it costs, but he didn't want to. He has a brother that he fully count on, and sometimes I wish I had that brother in my life, But the thing is, my life is completely different from Walt Disney life. But the thing is like we all have this dream in us, and we get to live that dream. Nobody will do that for us. It's us, and nobody will help us if we not guide ourselves to ask for that support when we need other support, or like from other people's support.
It kind of brings me on to my next point, actually, on about like your journey to creativity and also taking risks. I think taking risks is a big part of it. It's not something that comes easy. These things, you sort of have like a mental battle with yourself in your head, like, should I, shouldn't I? So I wanted to ask, how did you find the courage to continuously step into new territories? And what advice would you give to those who are afraid to take the leap, but maybe they want to? They've got that something in there, but maybe they're just a bit too scared. What advice would you have?
Never give up. That's my kind of like, it would be like, yes, sometimes life can put you down and completely like in the maybe in the ground, maybe like destroy you completely, and you have like this breakdowns. But believe that, and after each breakdown, it's a breakthrough. It's opportunity to learn, to grow, to get know yourself better, and actually appreciate each opportunity and each challenge that we meet in our life. And it's not easy to appreciate some things. It was not easy for me to appreciate when my mother abandoned me. And actually, I learned, I was so grateful. I said, you know what? I'm so grateful that she did it, because I don't know who I would be without, if she would be with me. But the thing is, I'm so grateful that it happened in my life. I'm so grateful the whole opportunities and everything that, all the challenges in my life that happened. For example, when I moved to study to Norway, it was a moment of my life when all my friends were saying to me, do you know how many people applying for study to Norway? Thousands of thousands. You cannot get in. You don't know English. You don't speak English. You don't speak Norwegian. You don't speak, like, the whole what I don't. And I was
Yeah.
like, it doesn't matter. I can just apply and see what's going to happen. I don't need to think about like what if, it's going to happen cool. If not happen cool, I did my best, from
Yeah.
my side. Well, this is what I'm saying to the people, like, try. This is what I was like, how many my artist friends I sent this application to apply for the space project? Nobody did.
But the competition was too high. They thought they couldn't. So
Yeah, this is what they were thinking.
they already decided before they even tried that it wasn't obtainable. And if everyone is thinking that way, then who's the competition? Because everyone is doubting themselves. But if you actually believe in yourself and believe, yeah, I don't speak English, okay, yeah, I don't speak Norwegian, all these challenges and setbacks and doubts in your head, if you just put those to a side and try your best, then something could really happen. And if not, then at
We
least you,
did.
and you won't have any regrets in saying, oh, I wish I did this, I wish I did that. Because I think I wish is probably worse than, oh, I wish I didn't.
And that was I was my friends was asking me after that, how did it happen? How did you get in? How did you? I'm a you saw because I was laughing at them. I said, because I'm a legendary. Because whatever
You
I
are
did, it's already
legendary.
legendary. And they will look at me again. Oh, Aisha, she's all about like selfish or ego, whatever. And I said, like, you know what? I don't care. Because in the end of the day, I do me in my life, and they do them in their life. And
Exactly.
I'm just saying to them, I always give opportunity to other people. Even my friends was laughing at me the other day. When I was 7 years old, in our village come this little like a plane that's kind of make the things for the farming. Uh,
Oh, well, like does it? to water the plants,
Yes,
kind of.
but not
Ah,
water, but it's like some kind of like things that is poison a little bit, but it's not poison. It's kind of good for the plants, you know.
yeah, yeah, I know what you mean.
So I saw that little plane, and I was like, I want to go on that plane. I want to go on the plane. But I was 7 years old, so I ran. I found that plane. I talked to the pilot, and pilot took me up. And I went around and I saw. I was super happy. I come back. I went to my friends or like the friends, that I was living with. I said like, I went on the plane. Let's go with me. We get to come like very early, at 7 a.m. in the morning. So I brought all these kids with me, and I felt, and the pilot didn't take us, and he said no, and he said to me, um, that was our secret, and I didn't keep the secret. And my friend was, when I was telling the story, he was laughing at me and said, sometimes when you have opportunity, you shouldn't share with other people. That what you continue to be where you get to be, like continue to enjoy what you want to enjoy, and you kind of like losing that opportunity, and you're losing that trust because you went to the share up because you were so excited of what you have done. Sometimes you don't need to share what you have done. Let other people to see it in themselves. The thing is, I learned from that experience that I'm still like the same way. I'm so excited and I'm sharing with everyone, and I'm so like super happy, and I believe that everyone just wishing me well, because they're raising my vibration up. That's what I kind of like, wishing that world will be way better when everyone wishing each other just well and happiness and greatness and amazing things in their life. That's what I wish from my heart, to everyone. Just be happy and joyful, and living the best life, living the best dream now, not like thinking about what if or what is tomorrow or like regrets. No, I believe that life is now. Life, it's beautiful itself. And
It
many
is.
people, this is what I've also discovered from the like a creative world or the art world. Not so many artists would be happy for you, and it's okay. That's what I also learned. Like, it's okay because I am happy from my heart. I'm really joyful from my heart. I really want everyone to live their best life, with me or without me. And I really want to raise the vibration of humanity to the next level with my book, Joyful Living Guidebook, where I'm just sharing something simple, and at the same time I feeling like it can be helpful for someone, that can read it and actually maybe integrate in their own life, maybe like find their own, thing that they want to integrate in their own life, or it's just started to think for themselves.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And I think it's similar to me as well. Like, I think we have very synonymous stories in the fact that when I went traveling and I realized, wow, this is great, the first thing I wanted to do was share it with the world. And that's why I started this podcast. And that's why I started my YouTube channel and like my Instagram and, sharing things online, was because the first thing I wanted to do was, okay, this is great. Who can I share it with? Like, I want everyone to feel this way. I didn't feel like I wanted to be selfish. And I think maybe that story with the plane, when you went back with your friends and then he was like, oh, this was meant to be our secret. I think that didn't hold you back. Yeah, you kind of like learned what maybe other people's perspective on that kind of situation would be, but you didn't let that make you a selfish person.
That time of my life, we were living in completely different, was like Soviet Union, and that was the transformation of Soviet Union towards like where Mongolia and become independent, and all is many things was happening at the same time that was outside of it, right? And so many things was adult was experiencing and kids was experiencing outside of their everyday life. Other life was happening as well at the same time, so many changes happened. So from my perspective, like, when all these changes is happening, we don't understand as a kids, but the adults cannot explain you what's happening. So like it's all about learning about that afterwards. But the thing is, when I understood as an adult, my life was kind of like, childhood was dramatic and a lot of drama and a lot of trauma as well. But I said to myself, that was my childhood. I cannot change anything about that. I get to love absolutely all of it and be grateful for all of it. Yes, maybe it's not like pink elephants, and all these toys. I didn't have any toys. I get to share clothes all the time. And this is the part of the reality. And that's why it's actually for me, I don't have any ideas like, what, oh, it's my thing. When I started to kind of like living with other people, they were saying to me, it's my thing, it's my, and I was like, what is mine? In my mind, it was like, I
Then,
couldn't even understand.
bless you. Oh my, I really like want to give your 7-year-old self a hug. I want to go and buy your 7-year-old self like a Barbie doll or something. Oh my gosh, you're actually like touching my heart. Bless
But that's
you.
the reality. It's like you get to accept that reality that you're living in. That's just the reality that you're living in. And you don't understand, like, I'm feeling so free. I was playing a lot outside. I love to play in the snow. We had so much snow, and I was playing all the time outside. I was like really loving to play outside, because when you're inside, it's always fighting. The kids is fighting. It's always noise, and it's like I didn't like it. I was like, every time it's fights, every time it's so much noise inside. So I love to be outside, and I feel like that probably create this idea of me traveling. I started to travel around Central Asia, Russia, and after I started to travel more around the world. But the thing is like, that was just extension, or like, you just getting more and more confident about yourself, and you're getting more and more confident that in the end it's nothing to be scary of. Whole world is your family. Everyone in the world want you to be happy and want to help you, to guide you through their own culture and own language, and it's just beauty of life. You're learning so many amazing things about yourself, first of all.
I wanted to touch on your traveling as well, because it sounds like you were very independent from a young age. And I know you have over 60 countries under your belt. What age were you when you started traveling?
I was like probably 16, 15, 16.
Okay, that's pretty young. You're not technically, well, I don't know about like the
I was
laws in
traveling
Mongolia.
like around like a Central Asia, Russia.
Yeah, yeah.
I was in this hitchhiking club.
Wow.
It's like it came out like I even don't remember how did, like, I was like entering my university, or like supposed to go to the university, and I had a lot of troubles because as a teenager I was very rebellion, and it was like many dangerous and a lot of different things that happened in my life. But the thing is like, that's one of my thing. When many of my friends started to die of like accidents, and killing themselves, and many other things, I cannot say like I did many dangerous things, and I was trying like suicide and all that stuff as well. But because it was not easy environment as a teenager to live in, and be yourself, authentic yourself. One day I was in a funeral of one of my friends, and I said to myself, what I want to do, like if I'm going to die today or like tomorrow, I don't know if when I'm going to die, but what I want to do, travel. That was my idea of like a travel around the world and see all the things. And what's stopping me? And I said to myself, nothing. I just go. But that's I was started to travel a little bit, maybe like 1 week, 2 weeks. I started to go and do research, and I went to this hitchhiking club, and I started to talk to the people, and I was curious, and after they take me to the little trip, or like a long weekend trip, and after I started to kind of like explore, expand, eventually I moved to Moscow. And after Moscow, I moved to Norway, because I understood if I'm going to stay in a very little bit, like a small town, and will not go and travel around the world, because it's too small. I get to move to the capital and to the bigger city, and Moscow was a very big city, and I was very scared of Moscow. I was in Moscow several times, with a hitchhiking club, and staying in like this weird apartments. I was like, it's so scary. Moscow is so big. It's so crazy big. I don't know how I'm going to live here. And the opportunity arrived, I think, because of my leadership skills. I'm a leader, since I was born, probably, like, and just was leading myself was very, like, I lead myself very well. And I feel like this is why I get like all my school years I was a leader of the class, and after university that was probably like natural for me to like kind of transition towards like Moscow, because I was active in politics. I was like, as I understood in very early age, I don't have parents. I don't have any like a back, like nobody will educate me. I get to do that myself. So I get to be involved in politics because it's opened me other doors to like getting better perspective and travel around the world. That would happen, and I moved to Moscow, and I got better and better, like overview of what I want to do in my life, and I just feeling like each decision in life has like you kind of like having better, creating your own world, and like you seeing better and better who you are in this world. And this is why I say like I'm a center of my world, and I'm saying I'm a winner. Just by coming here, I'm already a winner. It's already enough. It's more than enough. by doing extra things, I'm just like so grateful that I'm healthy, I'm happy, I have absolutely everything, all the tools in the world to do whatever I want. Why not? And I'm asking someone, why not? If I want to like today travel somewhere, I can do it. But the thing is, I have other priorities. It's not just the travels right now, my priorities. It's like many other things that's connected the bigger picture of who I am. And I believe
Hmm.
like we get to don't look at my like ourselves like, oh, I'm a woman, I'm a man, I'm just me, and yes, we have the separation, but in reality I have a female in a male energy in me, and I have both from my mother and father side. But so like from my perspective, when people think like, oh no, women don't do these things, oh, man doesn't, it does, who cares? In the end of the day, it's my work to live my dream the way I imagine for myself. And that's the whole thing is that, do I live my dream now? Yes, I do, and that's raising my vibration to the next level. And I feel that's the beauty of life.
Wow. Your story is just really inspiring, Aisha. And I think that's really incredible. The whole, like you went out there and you just decided, I'm going to do what I want to do. I don't care about anyone else. I don't care about the expectations or the probability of my success. I'm doing this for me. I've led myself this far and I'm taking myself to the next level. That's really inspiring.
It's always
I
next level. Like 3 years ago,
Wait,
I was like, how many levels is there? I don't know.
I don't know.
So
Let's just
many.
until we find out.
Exactly.
I just wanted to ask then, so with all these countries under your belt, what have you learned from immersing yourself in all these different cultures?
Well, of course, I know languages.
How many languages can you
So
speak
I speak
now?
Norwegian, Swedish, Portuguese, English, Russian, and I'm feeling like every time I'm in a culture, I'm learning the language. For me, language is have like the own code of understanding the culture, understanding the tradition, understanding the people better. And
Yeah,
when I moved to America, I couldn't understand so much the idea of Americans. Like, we Europeans, we have more like a heart in us. I feel like full of compassion, and that's a real compassion. That's we really want to help you and guide you and support you and everything, like all of that for real. We're really into that. In America, it was like very interesting. It was like very shallow. That's was layer of like the shallowness, and I'm like, first I was thinking like, oh, I don't want to go deep. I'm okay to go in, be in a shallow. It's okay, you can still like be very successful and do a lot of like all this amazing things, and it's true, you can. But the thing is like, I'm not shallow. I'm very deep. I'm very like intense. I'm so creative. I'm having all these emotions and feelings and ideas, and I really want to live all of them in my real life, and I really want to have a true friends in my real life. And that's who I have here in Europe. The true friends that really went through with me through the so many different layers of friendship, or like a trust, and conversation. And I feel like it's very important. Yes, I do have American friends, and I think that it takes a bit of time to kind of like see who is who.
yeah. Do you think because they are so shallow, do you think that they're truly happy, or do you think this is more of a facade to make other people think that they're happy when really deep down they're not? What do you think on that?
From my perspective, from my own observation, because of the people are very spoiled, from the beginning of their lifetime, and they have access to absolutely everything, and they don't even understand how privileged they are, how
Yeah,
like the way, the level of spoiledness they are. They don't even have that awareness.
it's
And
true.
I said to the people when I arrived to America, I was explaining to my artist friends. I said, you know what? They said to me, how do you manage your life? Why you don't have any kind of like loans and like all these problems with money and blah, blah.
Why don't you have loads?
I said to them, I just know that when I started to work my way up, I just know how to manage the things a little bit. And America is very easy. It's very simple with a credit store, with a credit system that you can build up, and you can live amazing life, that life that you would like to live up. And and it's very easy when you don't like wanted to so many things. When you're building up, like, steady, not like too fast, like being doing absolutely like crazy, you know.
I think it comes down to like a realistic expectation and also just being grateful for what you have. And I read somewhere that happiness doesn't actually correlate to the things that you have. So yeah, although these people, yeah, they're spoiled. Well, maybe I could say the same about myself. You know, I come from a very privileged background. Like I have a mum and a dad who loves me very much. Like I managed to go to school. Like I've got a good support system. You know, etc. But I think happiness doesn't quite correlate to those kind of things. And I think what it really does boil down to is actually gratitude and how grateful you are for things. And I've definitely learned that since traveling and meeting people from lots of different communities, you know, that sometimes people don't have a lot, but they're so happy and you can see. And it's because they appreciate what they do have. And I think a lot of people can maybe learn to be more grateful for the things they do have, you know?
Exactly. That's what my invitation to the people, like practice gratitude, write journaling, gratitude journaling, meditation, and actually appreciate what you have now and start like slowly develop. It's very easy, sometimes universe work in such a magical ways that you just somewhere else in one day and you don't know how when you end up there. But the reality is when I'm traveling, my travels, I'm so grateful, like the opportunity, and I see how privileged I am, to travel and see many cultures and, many countries. And I'm just feeling like I created it for myself because I've been open enough, to say yes to life and yes to the things and be brave enough to say yes from having nothing and being nothing, being like completely like zero, zero, zero is like probably minus in many like realities, but still manage my way up, and still shine my star. And I'm just feeling like when I'm going to the other countries like Indonesia or Thailand or like Nepal, I see, for example, how grateful they are to meet you. They're so curious to learn about you. They're so curious to like understand about you. They're like sharing absolutely everything. They're sharing the house. They're sharing the food. They like would like to learn from you who you are from their hearts.
Yeah.
They're so grateful that the foreigner or the person from other planets for them coming to their village or to their little town. And, they're so grateful for this opportunity to know you. For them, you're already superstar, you know? And you're just like foreigner, like a stranger who is like just wandering around the world and, just would like to learn about other lives and about other cultures and just see the nature and do all these hikes, crazy hikes, whatever you hear about from this book you were reading, or like this story of this from this podcast or whatever. But the thing is like they coming and they just like giving you whatever they have, and I feel so grateful in these moments. I give them hug, I give them smile, and I'm just so grateful to have this opportunity of appreciation, how much they appreciate me, so I get to appreciate what they give it to me right now, in this moment of my life. And I'm just feeling like as much as I would like to share with them my wisdom, whatever I know, and accept their wisdom. And more I'm traveling, I understand it's so much simple living, having food on the table, having roof on your it's enough. It's more than enough.
It
And
is. It truly
many
is.
people like want more and more and more, and I'm asking myself, why more? Like, how many times I lost all my clothes and like not lost, it was stolen absolutely everything from me. I said I didn't have nothing, and I'm like, I came to the point everything is coming. Like again, it's just money is coming and go, and after they're coming again, and it's just the flow that until we're here, we're fine. Life will provide, and everything would be like in a working in such a magical and wonderful ways, and you never even know. Yesterday I didn't have a house. I was staying, like, let's say I was free from home. I didn't have anything, no money, nothing, and now I'm having beautiful house, living amazing life, traveling again like around the world, being in Lisbon. So like it's life. And that's why I'm saying to the people, why to be scared of what? Everything is temporary. Life is temporary. So enjoy each day, enjoy each moment, enjoy each opportunity, enjoy each challenge that's coming your way. It's the challenge, it's growth. I think every time a challenge is coming in my life, it's like, oh my gosh, it's going to be such a crazy growth after this. I'm so excited for this challenge, and so grateful for this challenge.
Mm. You have to look at it with like a good perspective. Like instead of thinking, oh my gosh, I've got this like crazy hurdle, how am I going to accomplish this? You can think on the other hand, oh my gosh, like I have this opportunity to grow, and think of it that way. And that's going to really like change your mindset. And if you can change your mindset, then ultimately you can change your emotions around that and how happy it makes you.
Exactly. That's why I'm like, every challenge I meet with a gratitude and like a grace. And that's why for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so amazing, it's so amazing, and like, it's a growth.
Hmm.
Eventually, it helps you to grow to the next level, and you don't know. This is what I was saying. Like, I don't know how many levels it is, but I know after this challenge, I will be in the next level, and I don't know where I'm going to be, and that's the most magical thing. I don't know. It's just I'm so happy about that. Every time, like people say to me, "What makes you happy?" I said, like, small things makes me happy. Like when I sunny day makes me already happy. It's like, so like if I have a dinner with my friends, it's already making me super happy. Small things. If I have a
It's
flowers in my table, it's already making me happy. Like
that's
many
adorable.
things. It's like small things make us happy. Happy is just a moment. But the thing is how you can live a joyful life. How you can live like and create that joyful vibration around you. Practice. It's a practice. It's like a meditation. It's be in that joyful, blissful space. You get to create. You get to have the idea of it, how you want to live that joyful life. And that's why I'm telling to the people, each of us have their own idea of the joy. So first, understand what joy for you. And after you started to create from that space, what it is.
I think a lot of the struggle is maybe, especially like in England, and maybe other countries like with similar culture to England. But I think like a big struggle nowadays is society just tells us to go to school, then go to university, and then get a job. But I think the problem with that structure is it doesn't give people the opportunity to actually stop and think what actually does bring me joy and go out and explore lots of different things. Like some people might like traveling, some people might be more of a creative person, lots of people have different interests and hobbies. And I think a lot of the time, somebody's career might not be synonymous with what they're passionate about. And I think that that's really sad. But I think what's even sadder is that they're not even conscious of this idea and that they're just happy to live their life working a job that they don't actually enjoy, but they don't take a minute to think, why don't I enjoy it? What do I enjoy?
Exactly. This is people scared of the question. People scared to ask this question themselves. Sometimes people like look at me and they say, "You make me so scared." Like, and I say, "Why? What I have done? I haven't like just because of my smile or just because of what?" And the people
It's
cannot
because
even
we're holding a
explain
mirror up to
themselves. They cannot even explain themselves why they're feeling what they're feeling because they just like
exactly.
go into the first. And I'm like, okay, I'm okay. Like I don't want to like be in your space or your bubble.
I think it might be intimidating to them, like you're a
Very.
prime you're and not in like a horrible way, but you are a prime example of someone who has decided what they want in life, gone out to go and get that, and now you're truly happy, you're fulfilled within yourself. And I think when maybe people meet you, it's kind of like you're holding a mirror up to them and actually like showing them how unfulfilled they are themselves, and it's not in a conscious way, and that's why maybe they don't understand why you make them unhappy or intimidate them. It's because they're not fully conscious, it's kind of like buried deep within them. And maybe when they see you, they just realize like, I wish I had that, but I don't, and I don't know how to get there. And maybe that's why.
Exactly, I agree with you that. And plus, many people don't even ask questions because, from my perspective, when I'm curious about someone, I'm asking a lot of questions. Every time I'm asking so many questions, and I'm like so curious and excited, and I would like to learn from that person, and I would like to hang out with that person, and I would like to kind of like just be as that person in that moment and understanding, everything. And that's my approach, because I'm saying to my best friend right now, I said to her, like, we are like beautiful women and we get to, be we already successful, but we would like to go more successful. And I said to her, what it is to be more successful?
Yeah, like
And
how?
she said, and she said
Where's the
to me,
next level?
exactly, what is the next level, of success? And she says to me, you're already living absolutely a dream life. In From my perspective, you're living this amazing, joyful, and rich life, and you live in a luxury, and everything is just so great in your life. And I said to her, you're true, because you're with me. Every time we like traveling together, I'm sharing everything what I have, and you're sharing everything what you have. That's, we're living together the same beautiful life that you see in me. It's also, you have the same. And she said to me, yeah, it's actually true. She doesn't look at this from that perspective, but when I show her, she started to see that true. And I said to her, we're successful women, and sometimes it's intimidated men who is, who kind of like feeling, oh my gosh, this woman is so powerful, and she can do whatever she wants. And the same time, they feel not confident around
Yeah,
powerful, beautiful woman who is also independent, and plus like she wants to have a normal, like relationship, and she open to talk about relationship, or like to open about, very like, let's create bubble together. And from my perspective, what we right now as a woman, at least in my world, I feel I see the world in a classy way, and right now it's so many distraction in the world that people getting very confused. And I said to them, just take out that confusion and then just decide what you want. That's it. It's not about wishy-washy thing all the time. I want this, I want that. Life is continue. Life is will continue move, and it's up to you to decide which direction to take. And
it
when
is.
will
It is.
do that.
And you mentioned about playing outside of the matrix of life. And I think that's what you and I are both doing. And also, you mentioned your friend as well. But when you said about like going to the next level, and we're like, okay, well, what's the next level? And I must admit, I've been in England for a while now. I came back to visit my family, and I'm looking to get back out to Australia in the next few weeks. But I was kind of like feeling a bit down. I kind of like, I've been in England for a while, and I've kind of forgotten about who I was when I was traveling. And I FaceTime my friend. I was just saying to him like how I was feeling. I was like, I want to do something more, but I don't know what to do. And he was like, look at you. You're already really successful. You've got like all these things going for you. You've traveled, like you've experienced a lot of things. You've got all this stuff, and you need to just like take a step back and just be grateful for what you've already got. And then I did. I kind of like looked at it in a different way, and I thought, oh yeah, like I have. And I had to kind of just like mentally reset myself and think, I've got this, like it's absolutely fine. And then just trust that the next thing, like whatever does happen, is going to be fine as well. It all goes back to that whole like gratitude and just taking a minute to pause, and just reflect on what you already do have.
Exactly, and that's not so many people actually realizing. I'm very happy that, for example, I have some example in my life that I'm look up to, and it's like it took me a while, and people ask me like, "Oh, why you look up to the men? Why you not look up to the women?" And I said, in my life, I haven't met yet, or like I haven't watched women that impress me, and I said like I want to be like this woman. I want like I kind of like want to
You want to be
achieve
the
that
example.
level of her way of doing things. I said like, I'm a great example of myself, and I just have this idea of myself where I want to be next, or like, and it's not easy. Every time when I'm putting myself like to the next, like I go like to the next level, I'm meeting so many like my own challenges is that I get to practice and actually work through, and it takes time. And before I was punish myself, I would do like a lot of beating myself up. Now I don't do that anymore. I'm saying to myself, you know what? You're already great. You're already amazing. You're already more than enough. You are doing amazing job. It's just day by day you get to work towards whatever you get to work towards, and it just takes time. It's life. Just accept yourself the way you are right now, and you slowly will work towards where you want to be. And it's not about like being there right away, like cutting all these edges right away. No, just let yourself
It's a
be
flow, it's a
naturally.
journey.
Exactly.
You will have ups and then you will have
Flow.
downs.
I
And
call it like a
then
flow.
it's not always going to be like that. You're going to be up here again, and then maybe you'll drop off. But you can't expect everything to like be perfect and linear. These challenges are what define you and make you a better person. And without them, then you wouldn't really be able to accept all the positive times because you haven't had anything or any hardship to compare it to.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is important to have these ups and downs, absolutely.
It's very important, like a be a flow. That's what woman about. That's what I'm learning about, like to being this flow. It's also being good to be of order and center, but also good to be a flow. And that's what I'm learning right now. And that's not easy for me at all. That I'm learning of, oh my gosh, I've been so much in order that to lose out, it takes me so much time to like being a flow, being flexible, being dancey. And then this is why I feel like I get to go and dance more and like actually started to dance, kind of like getting to the level of flow more and like deeper and deeper, and accepting the flow and accepting myself the way I am, and actually understanding what it is to be a woman for real, like to be a woman and be in my own powers of not the way society wants me, the way I want to be. And
Yeah,
that's not easy part because it's so many, like I call like it's so blurry right now, in our world, what it is to be a woman. It's getting more and more blurry because of all this transgender agenda and all of these like different ideas of what it is like male or female, and I'm feeling like young generation getting more and more confused, instead to get more clarity they're getting more confused, and that's why society wants from us, getting more confused about who we
yeah.
really are.
More about, instead of like all these categories, of like what defines you and what defines happiness, then just like look within yourself to think, okay, what do I actually want? Do I want to go to university? Or do I think I want to go to university? You have to ask yourself these questions and actually look within rather than looking for validation elsewhere. On to the topic of advice inspiring others. For those listening who feel held back or stuck, what advice would you give them to help them embrace their creative side and start carving their own path?
Be always open to the listen, especially when you like stuck. I think it's very important to look for the guidance, and the guidance that's coming your way, accept that guidance with open heart. Don't for example, don't get like, oh, why, like being too suspicious or something like that. Be open to receive, be open to learn, be open to get out, of that stuckness that you are. We all can be stuck, but the things is accept that challenge. That challenge can be very painful, and it's great because through that pain you can get to the to the next stage of life, and that would be way more beautiful, more magical and gorgeous than you cannot even imagine. But we get to go through that pain. And my advice would be like, face it, and always face all your fears that you have. The fears is opportunity for growth.
It is. Definitely face your fears is something that resonates with me as well. When I am terrified to do something, I guess most people's instinct and instilled in us through nature and evolution is to run away from the danger. And, you go into this fight or flight response, whether that's like conscious or not. But I think for true growth, you have to just face the challenge and you have to tackle it and embrace it with everything that you've got. And if it doesn't work out, well, then you learn for next time. And if it does, well, then there you go. That's it. You've faced your fears.
Exactly. And you learn something from that always.
You do,
Better
especially.
and always about yourself. That's what the beauty of life. You're learning better how brave you are, and you're understanding that it was just an illusion. And,
Mm.
it's like so many, many things that it's everything now had in
And what's the
reality.
worst that could happen?
World is so big and beautiful.
Exactly. And what's the worst that could happen? You've got everything to gain and not really that much to lose. So you may as well.
World is our family. That's what I'm discovering more and more.
So, with your future projects, then, do you have any new projects or travel plans or any new art that you're currently working on or anything new that's on the horizon for you?
Well, right now I have this project, Decentric, that I'm PR and
Okay.
creative director. So that's, we're going to be in the web summit that's coming like tomorrow. And I'm pitching their company, and I'm going to be in front of the 75,000 of people, and
Wow.
yeah, on the stage. And it's like it's a new challenge for me somehow because I've never been on a stage with so many people.
Gosh,
So
are
like
you
for me, it's a
nervous?
new kind of like level up.
Yes, that's the next
And
level.
about my travel plans is probably going to Morocco next month for like a week or something. But I'm still like very flexible. I'm like thinking maybe I will go to Morocco. Maybe I will go and visit my friends in Italy. But that's kind of like because of December, it's not going to happen so many things, and it's good to like just kind of go and visit my friends and my close friends, like my family.
Can you tell me a bit more about your brand Eccentric? What actually is it?
Well, it's a bridge between a real world to the luxury virtual world. We are focusing on luxury items that's connected to the laser technology, and that laser technology connected to the blockchain and to the AI technology. But it's very complex concept. So it's like that's the
Right.
simple way to like describe it in few words.
It sounds cool though. It sounds slightly technical. It sounds really interesting though, and it's obviously something that you're really excited about. So I'm excited for you.
I'm a winner!
Yeah.
Yay!
So you're going on stage tomorrow to talk about it. Are you
Oh my
nervous for that?
gosh, I'm so excited. And I'm like,
That sounds
imagining
terrifying.
how it's going to be. It's like, it's just going to be wild. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I get to be like calm, and like just kind of like having a great time. I'm just like, I'm having great time. Okay, now this time I'm on stage and it's great. This time it's just, I'm explaining something very complex, super complex, and I'm doing my best to make it in as simple as possible that people can understand.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. And I'm sure everyone there is very excited to hear from you as well.
I am really excited to like be this, example of for the women, for the inspire more women to live their dream life and actually be brave to live their dream life because I believe each woman deserve to live the best life the way they imagine for themselves. And I believe that's an era of women right now. We're standing up and we're like really, you know, going in front of the line to, show the world. And actually, I believe that we can make the world better by leading the world from our perspective.
That's really inspiring, and I'm very excited for you and your new venture with Decentric. So I'll keep an eye out for more content on that. I'll keep an eye out on your Instagram. Before we close, then I have this feature that I have instilled in my new season 2 episodes, and that is this moment of magic. So I just wanted to ask, what is one incredible, unforgettable experience from your travels? Something that has either changed you or given you a new perspective on life. It's just that one experience for you. What has been your moment of magic?
My experience was 10 years ago when I went to Hawaii and I spent in Hawaii and I went to the all islands in Hawaii. That was my first journey. I was like 20, I think 24, 23, and I remembering that was my first journey when I went so far away. I just had a one-way ticket, and I just feel like, I just go with the flow and see what's going to happen, and the magical things started to happen. I stayed in a couch surfing, and I was like, that's because I was receiving a lot of couch surfer at that time in Norway. I was living in Norway, and I never like stay in a couch surfing myself. That was my first couch surfing stay in Oahu, the main island. And after I started to kind of like move from island to island, and I had this amazing experience of exploring all the islands, going around all the islands, surfing, paddleboard, and like really feeling the magic, and really wanted to stay. I was spending like 2 months in Hawaii, and I really wanted to stay in Hawaii. I was feeling like, oh, this is so amazing. I can imagine to live here in one of the islands. I like Maui. And the thing is like, and after I was sitting on the beach, and I said, you know what, it's too late back for me. I can come back later, like when I'm older, but it's like
Yeah.
very like slow life.
Mm.
And but it was amazing experience. That I think one of my amazing spiritual experiences, because I was practicing Ho'oponopono. It's one of the Hawaiian practices of I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And I went for the course, and I was like really into like Ho'oponopono idea, and that's opened up for me completely different perspective of life. And I just learned like how powerful I am from that time, that I can go absolutely everywhere and be welcome absolutely anywhere in the world.
Oh, I love that. And was Hawaii where you learnt to surf, or could you surf before?
And I was surfing before, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it would
I
be
was
such a
trying
big
surfing in Norway. I
change.
was trying already like other countries. I was just like kind of like surfing is not my favorite thing, because there's so many people surf there, so you can just kind of like natural, just go with them and just having fun and doing that. I like more like kite surf. That's kind of
Oh, okay, that's cool. I've never been kite surfing, but it's
one
definitely
was a
on
win.
the
Wait to the right waves.
list. And then, okay, so is there anything else that you'd like to leave our listeners with as they look to create their own colourful and joyful lives?
I feel everyone has opportunity to create absolutely anything from their own life, as colorful as they imagine for themselves. Just use your imaginary. If you can dream it, you can do it. And my quote would be like, everything is illusion. Create your own illusion
I love that.
and
That's really
live
sweet.
it and enjoy it.
Live it. You can dream it, you can do it.
Yeah,
So if you're thinking about it, then go for it because there's nothing stopping you other than yourself.
exactly. Exactly.
Perfect.
That's
All
my
right.
point as well. Like nothing stopping you except yourself. Go with the
It's
flow
true.
and always trust yourself and believe in magic. Believe in yourself as well.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on this episode. It's been an absolute pleasure talking with you. For those people listening, where can people find you?
I have my website, Aisha.today. Aisha, it's AISHI dot today, where you can find my information about me. You can also have a call with me. I have my mentorship program one on one, and I also have my online program, Joyful Living. And I publish my book, where you can also find my book on Amazon. And you can just Google it, Joyful Living Guidebook, and it's on different platforms right now. You can get your hardcover. It's simple. Go and get me Aisha today.
All right. Thank you so much. If you like this episode, please make sure you follow along on Spotify and hit that notification bell so that you are notified every time a new episode comes out. Season 2 is imminent and I'm very excited to be sharing with you this new content. Also, don't forget to share with your friends and family if this resonated with you. I'm very excited to spread the word about Destination Happiness, so follow along and I will see you in the next episode.